Nothing. Yes. Nothing. Yes. Nothing. Yes. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Nothing. Yes. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Nothing. Yes. Hope it's good enough. Sound wise. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So I'm waiting for the clock to turn 9, so not gonna start until then. So I'm waiting for, turn off the volume on that, maybe turn that down. Need to reopen this page. Technical things, always a problem for me when doing this, feels like. Hello, Bass. Hello, Dip. Oops. So the camera is there, and my questions is there. So I'm gonna look a lot over there, just so you know. Yeah, I'll try to keep that in mind though. 1 more minute and then we go. I'm just gonna add this to stream updates. Gonna add this to, no I'm not, general, there. Gonna add it to the Magpie Parrots. Am I? I'm not. You're already here, Dip, so I guess you already got the message. All right, I think time is now. Hello. A few people, not that many, but a few people have asked me to do a Q&A. And it's a good thing to have. I think I always liked all the people I follow on YouTube. I like to know their background and what stuff they're using to do their videos and all that for myself, and yeah, just curiosity. And I mean, it does feel a bit sometimes like we're one big family, even though we never see each other. We talk to each other in the chat and on Discord and stuff like that, but still it feels like you kind of know each other. So I've gotten a few questions to begin with, which are a little bit about myself, about my background, how I got started with the modular thing, and my background in terms of music, profession, and what's my profession and stuff like that. So let's begin with the basics. My name is Christian Blåsul, and that means Christian Blue Sun. Fun fact, maybe. And as you might guess, that name is taken. We did that. I'm quite stubborn and my wife is quite stubborn, so when we got married we couldn't decide whose name to keep. So we decided to make our own name. And we like the sun, both of us, and then but to just be named Sol, we would be named like half of South America, something like that. And we thought maybe we should have it a bit more niche than that. So we took the favorite color of our daughter, which was blue, so Blue Sun. The day after we got our name, when we told her, she was really sad because she had changed her favorite color to pink. So she wanted to be called Pink Sun. But she's used to the name now. That's it for the name. I'm 46 years old, so I've been around a long time and lived through the 80s, partied a lot in the 90s and 2000s. Around the middle of 2005, somewhere there, I started to, that's when I moved down from here. I've lived in a lot of places, mostly around Sweden. I lived in Stockholm for 9 years, and that is the time, like before that, in the 90s was the big rave scene, so that's if we start with the music making thing, I started in the rave scene. Actually, I started at a really low age. I bought my first synthesizer or keyboard and just did a keyboard course trying to learn to play keyboard, piano, and taken some of those courses throughout my life. And I did music and everything on tape, of course, that I'm now sitting and putting over on computer because it's fun to listen to old stuff. But it was, and in the 90s, just before I turned 18 and after, so I'd say between 16 and 20, I did a lot of rave music and played at raves and stuff like that, and we made rave parties and stuff like that, so everything was in that genre. I had the artist name Psycho, and I played at 180 BPM, so it was quite fast. And then after that I moved to Stockholm, and there I got more into just like Stockholm techno, like very minimalistic techno, and ambient, a lot of ambient, and that's in Stockholm. So I have some pictures and stuff, because I tried to find pictures of my studio from the time, because I don't know if you've seen, there's the music is what I really like, and then I just happened to come into electronics and making modular and stuff like that. So I have quite a lot of studio equipment, which I think you've seen in the videos. So a bunch of rack panels or racks and stuff like that. Behind there is just a bunch of synthesizers and stuff like that. So I have quite a lot of those things, and which I've accumulated over the years. As started in the 90s getting synths and up until now. So yeah. So let me show some. And sorry, I need to do that. Right. So old pictures, but so from the early studio I actually built a whole new studio in Stockholm, which was super fun. Me and a friend, we hired this huge cellar place, and we just did our own studios with, so I built it according to all the rules with really thick walls and stuff like that, and this is where I sat and did quite a lot of nice music. And I had the idea already back then to have the rack up in the roof, as you can see here, so yeah, and some of the synths from back then. This is one. I sold my JX3P because I bought a MKS30. That's never sell anything. Like, if you buy a synthesizer or equipment, don't sell it. You will always regret it. So this is one of the big regrets I have. And yeah, this is not a regret. It's a S2000. I don't regret selling that too much. I don't even remember having this huge mixing desk either. This one is also a big regret. This was an ARP Pro Soloist that I had that I sold to someone. I don't remember who even. And here you have some of the racks put up there in the roof. So those were the early days. Yeah, so I played live on a few festivals, mainly at Nobelsfestivalen. So, and I also played video live, so just really just ad hoc, just added some, I think it was, what was the software called? I don't remember, but I played video lives there as well. And then, yeah, this is how lives look like when you are deep into synth diving. Here's another place I played. And I also played as Madonna once. Not one of my best performances, but yeah, that happened, so I have to live with that, I guess. Also, so and then in Stockholm we released 2 DVDs with music, where I had my ambient music. One was it was called Collectania, which was a collection of a bunch of Swedish-based electronica artists who all did a video and a song to that video, or a tune to that video, and we did a DVD of that. Something happened with the company who released that, so unfortunately that flopped. And then I also had the same song, I think, as background music on another DVD with jugglers. So it was the background music of the menu of that DVD, I think. So yeah, that's those two, my background. And then I moved down here. That's not all. That's Stockholm. Then I moved down here, and one of the first things that happened, no, not the first things, but music-wise, just when MP3 came on big and became the mainstream thing of listening to, somewhere in the beginning of 2000, 2005, 2007, something like that. I took the dive and printed my own record. I think I have that as well. I have 1,000 of those records, or 900 of those records, in a box in here in the studio, because that flopped as well, because no one was interested in buying CDs anymore. I did that in collaboration with a singer, and we created a band called Alash, and released that one song, and then we haven't done anything. We've done a few small things, but nothing that we've released. So yeah, and that is about it. Then after that, I met my wife, and we got kids and stuff like that, which put everything on hiatus, making music, and that doesn't have to. It did that for me. We lived in the countryside, had a really mess of a house that just needed repairs all the time, so that's all my energy was put into fixing that house. I had a picture of the house. Yes, I do. So when I started doing the modular, no, not the modular in a week, anything Arduino, which was a series I did before modular in a week. This is where I started in a just crammed up little space. No, you can't see that because you're watching me. That's the picture. This down here is where I started that video. And then just 1 year or something like that after I started that, I moved to this house that I'm in now, which turned into, so I made a bunch of videos making this studio space, which is not done yet. It's still a work in progress. And then a few anything Arduino, and then one summer 3 years ago, I went through all my stuff, and I don't know if I think I showed this in the first episode of Modular in a Week, but so this during all these years, when electromusic.com was in its peak, when all they did was just make PCBs and do group buys, I have so many PCBs of cool modules that is just lying around because I bought the PCBs, but I never had time to sit down and do the module. Here's a PS3100 resonator that is almost done, except for the panel and a few components. Here's a bunch of VCOs, which I actually did finish 2 ones and put in the modular. Here's a Buchla 281/4 function generators, 4 of those, and so on and so on. There's a TR909 in here. That's one of the first 909 clones of the sounds, like a real reproduction of the 909 sounds, which is not finished either. So I saw this box and thought, I need to start building these things. I need to start to get a modular going. And I thought I need to get some basic modules because I had one VCO. That's what I had. Of all these things I had built, I had one VCO that I had finished. And I thought I need to complement this, yes, that's what you say, and get a full modular going, standard kit. So that's when I sat down 1 week of my vacation, just found loads of schematics of really simple builds and just built, to get that Lunchbox modular that I showed in the first episode, or part 0 of Modular in a Week. So that's when I got there. And then from there it has just continued, because once you go modular you can't stop. Just one more module and then I'm done. And that has been said so many times. Like in a day I think, okay, this day I'm going to do this kinds of modules, and then I do those, and I should do one more, and then yeah, now it's enough, but that one looks cool, I need to do that one too. And I just have to stop myself from not having each day turn on to go on forever, because there are so many cool modules out there, DIY, that you can build. Yeah, so that has turned into this. We're now on day 13 after 2+ years. I think it's almost 3 years. Is it almost 2 years, or is it almost 3 years? It's maybe only 2 years. I don't know. But yeah, so I have a few more modules, and then I'll start with Arduino modules. So it's just going to be more modules, more of the same. It's just a different kind of way of doing them. Yeah, I'm still on the first question. How did you get started with the modular things? Yeah, so that's it, just piling up. That the fun thing of the story, the stupid thing of the story, is that this box that was the start of it all, that I thought I need to finish these. I haven't touched these. No, I haven't touched them at all. None of them. I just built new modules, and that's what you see behind you. And everywhere there's modules. I have stacks of modules everywhere because I've built so many. I just reach out. There's one. There's one. There's one. Yeah, loads of modules. Music making, we've done that. What's my profession? So I'm a systems engineer. That's what my title is. Basically, I'm a glorified IT person. I work at a municipality here in Sweden, where I've worked since I moved down here. So I think I've worked there for 19 years now. Geez. Is it 19, 18? Something like that. 18, 19 years. It's, yeah, 18. Let's say 18. Yeah, just take care of support and servers and everything that has with IT to do in the municipality. I have a few co-workers, of course, and we have a great time. And yeah, it's a great workplace, which is probably the reason why I've stayed there for 18 years. Before that, I was web engineer, IT consultant, stuff like that, when I lived in Stockholm, and did a lot of work, changed work every 2 or 3 years. But since I moved down here, I've stayed in one place. So yeah, that's what I do as a profession. Okay, how many of those little sorting drawers are behind you? I can take one of the questions from the chat. Haven't you counted? Maybe you can answer that yourself. I don't know. There's a lot. I need more. I've started to add more over there on that side with just screws and stuff like that. And then there's, yeah, and then there's the bigger boxes. Those, oh, sorry. Those over here. So here's all my projects. It's also in sorting boxes now. Just trying to keep track of everything. which electronic stores, Mauser, Reichelt, Teda, do you use? So, like I sell kits. That happened by chance that I thought I should make it even easier for people to make the power supply. So I did a PCB of that and sold kits as cheap as I could. And that turned into me making a few modules, which I talk about on the channel as well. You all know this. And because I buy so many components and PCBs at the same time, I buy the bulk of my components nowadays from LCSC. Just because it's easy, they're fast, they have a lot of components, and they work. I know, so I did buy a few things from Reichelt just recently because we're working on another project. Where are you? Here are you. There are my screws on the floor. So we're working on a through-hole braids on the Discord server. So for that I needed a few special components that they didn't have on LCSC, but they had them on Reichelt, so I bought them there. And as a last resort, we have a electronics company here in Sweden called ElectroKit, which if I need something really fast, and I get it from there, and quite cheap. So the components are not cheap at all, but the shipping is €4 flat rate. So if I just need a few components, I pick that there just to get it super quick and easily. What's the secret to looking young at 46? Genes, I think. Not jeans, like jeans with a G, I think. My dad still looks, I think, pretty young for his age. Or he did. Yeah, he looks young for his age. Dipwith, you, I don't know if you wish that you learned to produce on tape in the 90s. We had so much noise, always the noise. I had to fight it all the time. Oh, thank you, Dipwith, for your donation. Very nice. You're now the first and the second who do a super text. That's you're leading the league. Thank you. How do you pick the next modular in a week idea? How do you pick the next modular in a week idea? Is it planned ahead a bit, or is it an idea you came across that is interesting? It is an idea I come across that I find interesting, that I then try to figure out which day it could fit into. Which is a problem now, because when I find a project I want to do that should be in an episode I've already done, I'm effed. Yeah, but I mean, there's so many modules to do, and usually, like, how I've circumvented that nowadays is that I make a module instead. What do I have? I don't have one, but I just keep those keep those ideas, and then I guess after this week is done, I guess I can go back and complement those modules that I wasn't too happy with newer and better modules. And as I've said before, that happens when it's a high tempo in this episode, and I don't always have time to find the best one. So with the first modules, the VCOs, the VCAs, I should have picked differently probably, but that was when I was a real rookie and didn't know much at all about anything about electronics, and especially not about levels and stuff like that. So it's a learning curve, of course. And Peter Stemple, I have to sell this idea to my wife. Not selling anything you don't like to miss later. The wives don't like it. They don't agree. Or the spouses, maybe I should say. The ones that don't have the our genes for that. But so from the previous question, I'll take another question. If you were starting now with your current knowledge, what would you do differently? Epilogue episode aside. That's a really tough question. I got that earlier today and I've thought about it since. I probably would research my modules. But like, if I knew everything I knew now, modular in a week would not exist, because I wouldn't do these super simple modules that I did in the beginning that turned into this. So I think that is part of the, it's part of the series, is that I learn. I need to do this so I can learn. And then if some of you learn something along the way, and all of you gets a few modules made along the way with me, that is awesome. But mainly it is because I need to learn, and I need something to make me do it, and make me have a schedule, something to push me. I know I'm not alone when I say that I am a procrastinator. Someone said today I'm a professional procrastinator. Yeah, that was David Haliant. You wrote professional procrastinator. That should be a t-shirt. I didn't write that in the on the Discord, but definitely a t-shirt. So I'm a professional procrastinator. I should have that written here. So having promising people to do something is a really good way of forcing you to actually do it, because, or at least me, because I don't like to break promises. So every time that I don't get the schedule and I can't finish an episode, I get kind of bummed out of myself, but knowing always that, yeah, it was a setback, and then I give myself a week to try to get back on the horse, and then go from there. So the video series is twofold: for me to learn and for me to actually make something. So I think that is it. And if I didn't have if I had the knowledge I have now, I would, like, if I would do something similar, it would probably be much more complex modules. Maybe I would even have a series where I make my own modules, like I don't know his name now, but he made the Super 16 16-step sequencer, and he did that in a series of YouTube videos, probably something like that. And that is, it feels like, when I think about it, that is what Arduino modular in a week or whatever is going to turn into. There will be a lot of, there's so many modules out there already that are so open source stuff that is so awesome that I will do, but there will always also be stuff that I will do new in code and in hardware. So it would probably have been more of that. I'm taking way too long with these questions, I think. Have you started to add capacitors to the power connectors for DC coupling noise reduction? Your thought on this would be appreciated. I have started to do that, as you should see on all my my schematics that I do, and I don't show me when I do the okay, so those were bad things because I didn't add them on those, but I do add them on other ones. Not on I do add them, not on the ones that I have in front of me right now, though. But I can't really say that I feel there's a difference so much. I've had problem with noise, and I've had problem with ripple, as you all know, but that is so much further before in the chain. That's in the power supply already that I've had problems, and I've had problems with some modules that even though I add the capacitors, because once I put in a module and I feel, oh, this sounds really bad, this has a lot of noise, and I add the decoupling capacitors and the smoothing caps and everything, and it still sounds the same. So it never has to do with that. But I have added them to all my projects. All these, the modules that I make have them. See, down here you have them, and I did forget to put the 100 nanofarads, but I have them here, so they were supposed to go on there. So this is a work in progress, so I'm gonna order new ones of those. This is the, so I did a module for the 4011 ring mod. It's not a ring mod, it's a ring mod because it sounds like a ring mod, but it's not a ring mod. So we'll see when I have that ready. I'll get back on that. Which also, this also brings me to how I make my panels. I get that question very often and very much. So these panels, and so they're yellow on day 2, and they're white and red, yellow and black on week 2, and white and red on week 1. And these are, so they're really flimsy. I showed this before. This one is actually a bit more sturdy than this one, but this is really flimsy. And I have a friend who has a laser cutter and a firm company where he cuts these. So he cuts them really cheap for me, and I have a video for that. I can just show a bit of that. He also makes cigar box guitars. He has so many cool guitars in his studio. So I was going to make a whole video about my visit to his workshop, but I fell between chairs. So basically I send him the files that I do in Inkscape.
Och den kör, det är någonting som jag skulle behöva lära mig. Den kör i den ordningen och liksom. Så de är roligt.
A really thin layer of paint that he just burns off, which shows the color of the thing below it, and then he puts it in an envelope and sends it to me. And I always order them too late, so I never get them on time. And I saved these, but now I have all these modules that I'm going to add to these these panels. So that's how I make my panels. Yeah, an Inkscape, you just make a PDF file. That's what it depends. It all depends on which company you use, but his printer uses PDF files, so I just save a PDF file and send that to him, and I get back a piece of plastic. Very nifty. How can I build a power supply using 2 generic 12-volt notebook power supplies? I really can't answer that just like this. And if I answer, it will just be a guess. And my guess, which I can't, we have to, whoever asked this question, come to the Discord server and we'll discuss it there. There we can show schematics and stuff like that. But it has to do with, you switch one around, so plus connected to ground to one of the power supplies, and then you get 12 volts ground, which is not really ground, and minus 12 volts, something like that. And then you need to do all this fiddly stuff with regulators to make sure it really is regulated at that. I don't know. Come to the Discord server, we'll discuss it. Oops. That was... Yeah, I could send it to Lookum on a computer, all the stuff that I don't want, but... Yeah, see, immediately a discussion starts in the live chat about people selling stuff and regretting stuff. It happens a lot. I still got the yeah, you mean the lunchbox, Ed? I still got the lunch. No, I threw the lunchbox away in this Christmas cleaning this year. All the things inside, once I got these panels, I took all the modules out of the lunchbox and put them on panels and into the modular. So all the modules are still there, but I have a bunch of these drawers as well. So here's all the modules that I don't have space for in the modular right now. Scobedo, Q&D, VCF. Here's the colored noise. Here's the hex oscillator, which I actually had to take out because it was taking too much space. So another box, just, it's probably fine. Just filled with more modules. And I have I have two more at least of those boxes. So there's a lot of modules that nowadays I make a module every 2 weeks, and I mean, counting back, I think I'm way over 100 modules easily, and then doubles of some of them, so there's a lot. I repair printers. No. What made you think I repair printers? I repair my one printer that I have. I've repaired that one for a long time. That's like from the early 2000s, I think. But that's just because I have toner till I die for that one. So Bass' wife is freaking out because she said modules everywhere. Well, she better watch out. It might happen to her home as well. Or give your husband his own room. If you have the choice between overcomplicated analog modules and a digital one, less complicated, with more features. Why do you select the analog one over the digital one? Why I choose it now? Because of restraints. Again, I've done this video to learn these videos, the video series, to learn. And if I revert to the easy way, if I take the easy way out all the time, I'll still learn, but I'll learn the easy way, which is coding in Arduino or something similar in the digital domain. Not saying that is easy, that I will struggle a lot with that once I get there, but right now I really think that I want to learn the basics, the from where it all comes from, and how it works, how it's supposed to work, that we then mimic in the digital realm. So that's why right now I choose the analog one over the digital one, because I've restrained myself from not using Arduino unless I really have to, which I did. Like this was, I did on my Patreon, I did a few videos where I tried to make a Sync24 from just CMOS circuitry, and I did make it, but it was not that good. And then I just built it in an afternoon, just wrote the code in Arduino, and did the sketch and did a simple board for that, and it worked much better, of course, because that's what microcontrollers are really good at, counting and keeping track of stuff. So I do use Arduino from time to time, but I don't show that quite yet, because that is going to come in the next week, where I will constrain myself that way instead, to learn and to because constraints is good for the imagination as well. So yeah. Number of drawers needed, n+1, exactly. Cases too, yeah. So my modular case looks like this now, and there really is not much space left, so I'm happy I'm on the last days now. So the last few modules is gonna come in, and then I have a few things that I'm going to do outside of the box, hopefully. So yeah, then when we start with week 3 Arduino modular, I guess I just have to rip half of the stuff out or build a bigger box. I also need a box so I can bring this along. COVID is soon over, I'm hoping, so I can go out and or travel the world and maybe bring the modular along. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I saw him. How easy is it to be a YouTuber, musician, DIYer, having kids? Are they interested in your project, or is it, dad is making bleep blops again? So yeah, I forgot to say that in the beginning. I have kids. I did say I have kids. I didn't say I have 3 kids. That's maybe a good thing to know as well. I have a girl that is 13, and I have 2 boys that are twins at turning 11. So, and the girl has always been around when I built on the house and later did the Arduino, anything Arduino things, where I did rowboats and stuff like that, and I tried to get her into programming and stuff like that. She was mildly interested, and the boys are just like me when I was young. They like this stuff because it blinks and it has knobs that you can turn and switches you can switch, which looks like a spaceship, and spaceship are fun. And if you can make laser sounds and stuff like that, that's even better. So, and they're sometimes in here wanting to play on my synths and stuff like that. Definitely in here wanting to just try and patch stuff, but they just do it because it's fun to flip things, not so much that they understand what they're doing. And it is really, really, really difficult to be a YouTuber, musician, DIYer having kids, I think. I need to stay up late to have time to do this. There's a lot of takes that I either, if I manage to get it correctly, I can hear them coming outside the door and I can break and continue once they've had their said their piece and left again. But sometimes I need to just scrap a whole take and do that again because I'm interrupted, which is fine. I mean, it's their prerogative as kids. Yeah, as you saw in the video when we played outside, it is difficult, but it's also so wonderful because like kids running around, especially when making music. I like always when I do an outside set, my kids are always there running around playing, and I can sit and listen to that afterwards when you hear the music and the kids laughing, playing in the background. That's the best background music sound to music, I think. But it's difficult because logistically, I mean, I can't do these lives and stuff like that when I want, because I can, but then we would have kids running here all the time, and then there's meal times and not naps, but putting them to bed and stuff like that. That always, so there's all these things. So whenever creativity finds me, I can't just leave and do that because there's chores to do, which is a bit more lax when there's just grown-ups who can take care of themselves in the house. Do you think there's a way that one can earn enough for a living that involves design and manufacture of modules, or it just works as a hobby? I think there's some people who do make a living, but I think that's you need to have a really complex product with lots of features, and you need to keep them coming all the time. I don't think like you can live doing anything. It's just how much do you want to work. I think that you need to put a lot of work into doing modules and doing all that and promoting it, and just so I think it's very much work. But as with anything with very much work, I think you can live on it. should also be said that live on it is very different from person to person. If I was just myself, not having this huge house, just having a small cottage in the forest, where I had just this room and a bedroom and a kitchen and a toilet, something like that, I could probably live making modules much easier than I could now, for me, because now I have a wife and family and all these expenses that you, like, it depends. Of course you can live, you can earn a living doing blankets, sewing blankets, but it all depends on the expenses as well, I guess. I'm getting to a reboot can be very interesting, talking about past errors. I did the epilogue of week 1. Maybe I'll do a epilogue of week 2 as well. Reminisce over the past year and a half or something. Yeah, your wife's, Warpedio, my wife supports my synthesizer habit as long as I support her houseplant habit. Well, I mean, look at the Moritz Klein's videos. He always has a plant in his video, and Red Means Recording and all these, they always have a plant. So of course, should have plants. That's, I'm missing that. I thought that the other day once, yeah, I found a really ugly cactus, and I thought, yeah, maybe I should have some green in my videos as well. But yeah, don't jump away like that. Juanito said, don't do this. IT job. How do you pick the next mod? Yeah, I answered that. Those yellow modules looks cool. It's all what's on the inside. Boturska, I recognize that. I have twins of the same age, and I'm a musician and a DIYer. I would not have time to YouTube as well. I don't watch much TV, that's for sure. That's don't have. I'm thankful that I don't like that much. So I do watch a lot of YouTube though. So there's too many interesting people to watch. That's not good. Here's something helpful review. So that's Frank Semi. You're welcome to use anything you can use at my GitHub. I made some cases and racks a few years back. There's open SCAD files. Just go github.com/Frank Semi. And it's not uncommon to use a year on just one module. Yeah, exactly. But so then we go back to this discussion on if you can live on making modules. So if you take 1 year to make one module, you better sell a lot of it and very expensively. So, and that's like I make modules, but I just sell DIY kits and PCBs, and I try to sell them as cheap as I can. I could probably sell them a bit cheaper. You can always do that, but yeah, I don't see very many selling them cheaper for a PCB and panel, just to get people to be able to make easy modules. But these are just super simple modules, and they still take months for me to do, because you have to build them and then print them and then test them, redraw them, reorder them, rebuild them until they actually work. So you can see here, I built this one today. This here red cable is an error that I blew my first TL071. This one is nice and toasty. And now when there's a shortage of silicon, I go and burn it up. It feels like I just took a dollar bill and just burnt it, which is basically what it is, because it costs $1. So yeah. Yeah, once you have a good design, you can easily multi-produce them. Yes, but then you also need to sell them. That's also a much more difficult feat, I think. Yeah, kids is best background noise. Yeah. Oh, you got held for review because of your curse word there, I guess. Paul Frederick, of course you can ask a question. Anyone can ask a question. Ask questions. If anyone sits on a question, that's what it's here for, Q&A, of course. Are there utility modules, not a VCA, VCO, VCF, etc., that surprised you by how useful they became for you? A utility module. The mixer. The mixer is amazing. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see. Back up a bit here. So I'm still working. I did this mixer and with 5 channels, and then I did another one that I haven't published yet. Whoa! Moving stuff here. Sorry. I have my next project lying here on so it was just a cable that got in the way there. Next week's project, I hope. That is a real fun one right now. Anyway, so yeah, so having really many inputs on a mixer is really good, I think. I did all these 2 or 3 and 4 input mixers, but the more you have on at least on the final mixer, the better it is. The multiple, I did not think I was going to use that as much as I do. I multiply my channels, or like, it's a super simple module. You can build it yourself. It's on day 3, I think. It's just jacks you connect together and use it all the time. And then this one I've started to use very much. It's a Vert. This is one of the modules that I've gotten from someone. So this is from Ed Random. So everything here is DIY, and most of it I've done all myself. There is this module that I bought just a PCB kit from a friend, Jonathan Liljedahl, Chematica Devices, because he makes really cool modules, and I really like this one. So mostly because it has so many LEDs, so many outputs of just an LFO, and you get outputs from the rise, the fall, the pulse, the output, and there's an input that I don't understand it completely, but I mean it's a really cool module. So and then I built that myself, and then there's 2 modules from Ed Random It's the switcher and the vert. So those two are the only two ones here I haven't built myself. So thanks for ruining that, Ed. Just kidding. Those are awesome modules. So this one I didn't think I was going to use that much, but I use it all the time. It's a offset offset and scaler, which I did one of those modules in week 3 as well. Day 3. Day 3 was all about those modules, that utility modules. So it's really good to have a scaler and bias circuit, because if you have a too strong CV signal, you just pull it through here and it fixes that up. Any other utility? Like utility, dividers, logic gates, quad switches. I don't know if you'd call that utility modules. Like the quad switch is really useful because like I can just switch between two signals instantaneously without having to change patch cables. I can just do that here or do it with gates. I really like that module a lot. And the quad logic gate is super awesome if you want to make patterns of all different kinds of stuff. So I don't know if that answered your question. Something like that. I'd say what that surprised you, how useful they became for you. I'd say the module that surprised me mostly how useful it was for me was the hex oscillator. In the first, like, I've used this so much in so many of my patches and in my videos, both as a VCO, but mostly as just triggers, because you had 6 triggers and they go from really low, really long clicks to really high-pitched sounds, and that was just super useful in so many aspects. So the module that surprised me the most was that one, because it's so simple and yet so very, very useful. Now it is not in the rack anymore though, so now I just use the divider and stuff like that instead, to have synced stuff instead. The module in your hand is exactly how I build my modules, no strip boards. Where's my lab? My lab is, we have a, Sweden we call it a subterranean house. So the house is in a slope, so on the front it's a 2-story house, and on the back is just the upper, the upper floor is the first floor on the back, but on the front it's the second floor. So I'm on the subfloor, which is it's still, yeah, you get what I mean. So but let's just say I'm in the basement, because in our house there's an old garage in the house, and then there's a new garage built on the side, and the previous owner, or the previous some of the previous owners shut the built-in garage door shut, and just had this as a tool shed or something like that, just having stuff here. And when we moved in here, I said I want this room because it was a bit cold, so we couldn't really have it as a room. And then there's videos on this. Then I built a room within a room, and that's twofold: to get rid of the sound, to lessen the sound out of this room, so I can play music quite loud in here, even though it's in the middle of the night. Also, there is a window in this room, but I put that shut because the studio I had in Stockholm didn't have a window as well, and it's just really nice to not be affected by sunlight so I sit here now and it's bright in here. It could be the middle of the day, it could be in the middle of the night. It is more middle of the night than middle of the day, so I shut that as well. And the second thing was, it was all concrete walls, and I built this wooden box, so now everything is wooden walls, which makes it so much easier to put things up. And people laugh when I show them stuff, because I put so much stuff in the roof, because I put beams in the roof as well, and a wooden, so there's like 10 centimeters or 4 inches of space between the concrete roof and my wooden roof. And you can fit a lot of stuff in those 10 centimeters. So I have all this stuff folding down from the roof, which I can really recommend if you're in a tight space. And that's also on my to-do list. I really have to make a studio tour to show all the recent additions to this, but there are too many projects going on at once, which means that it's a bit messy here, and it's always a bit messy here, but I think it's more now than usually. So yeah, I'm in the house. I'm actually straight below our bedroom, so but I can play quite loud music without disturbing my wife if she's up there sleeping. So I want to know where the bat cave is. It's I think I said that. I'm in Sweden. It's in Sweden. It's in the south part of Sweden, a small village called Vittsjö. So basically in the middle of nowhere. But it's a really nice place to live, really nice place for kids to be. A long way from the hectic life of Stockholm or something like that. So I like it because of that. Bas, do you have any commercial modules? Do you mean in my rack? Like if I bought any modules? So no, nothing, none at all. Like the closest one, the closest I get to a commercial module is the braids that is here. That was a commercial module, which is open source now, and you can just download these, which is what we've done, a bunch of people, and you can just build them with STM32, black pill, and a whole bunch of other components. So, and then also we are also doing a group buy for marbles, which is also a Native Instruments open sourced project. So that would be the closest thing to a commercial module, even though it's not commercial. So yeah. Frank Semi, you have to check out my videos. You stumbled upon my live stream for the first time now. Well, you have a lot of videos to watch, my friend. Good. You're late, but you can always go back and watch all the answers and all the talking I do. I talk too much. Yeah, so useful, throws it back on the floor. Yeah, as I said, it's out of my module right now. But the question was how it surprised me, and it surprised me how useful it was in the beginning. How about those? See, I plan ahead. So here's week 3, and week 3, well, I was planning on doing a really quick week. That was just going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chips, 7 days in a week. So I bought the AS3360, the AS3330. Here's a VAT 2180. That's a VCA chip. The SEM 3340, the AS3320, the V2164D, which is also a VCA, I think, and the AS3110. So the thought was, and I've had this thought for a long time, was to make week 3 these modules. But I really can't contain myself to get started with Arduino, so I haven't scrapped that, but I thought I can do that on the side, maybe do week 4 on this in the same run, or just, I don't know. I have one of each of those because I thought that would be a fun idea to make quality modules in a week. You're from Denmark. Good beer. Like a nice Danish Pilsner. I like that. Do you ever feel you would be better off, more creative with fewer modules? Option paralysis and stuff? Not yet. I'm still, because I do these videos the way I do, that I just get a bunch of these modules, and then I get a bunch of these modules. So each, like I started off with only VCOs, which was really, that's frustrating, to not be able to process the VCOs in any way. So I had to, I was VCOs for both the audio and the gate function. That's where the hex oscillator came in again. And then it just went on like that, that there's always the next module. And so now I did the sequencers, the Baby 8, the tap sequencer, and I did something else. I like all the sequencers. What I want to say is I still miss a good sequencer, and I've kind of given up doing that the analog way. I know how to do it the analog way now, and there's so many ways to do it the analog way. And if I guess you're all watching Look Mom No Computer as well, his 4013 variant with flip-flops. I mean, there's so many variants and so many cool ways, but now I know how to do it. Now I only want it because I need it, and I need a good sequencer. So I have I make so many sketches about how I'd like to have the perfect layout for a sequencer if I could do it myself. I think I've done at least between 5 and 10 different kinds of sequencers already. So now I just need to sit down and get code for that, and of course hardware for that. But so I'm still lacking the modules that I feel I really need, and I don't think I have option paralysis because I don't have I always want a new one. That's what I can say. Feudable, can we send you our spare PCBs? I would love that. I would love to trade in that case. I like to send my stuff to other people as well. So if you have PCBs, interesting PCBs you want to trade, come on the Discord server. There should be a link in the description, and there's a lot of people who want to trade with you, and also I'd also love to trade with you guys. That's a really fun way of getting new modules and from other people. So yes, of course. Yeah, it's in Skåne. It's Frank Semi, Vitskär in Skåne. If you know where Hässleholm is, then so Helsingør, if you live in Helsingør in Denmark over here, then you go basically over to Helsingborg, and then you just go straight in, a bit up, like there somewhere, in the middle of Skåne, there. So yeah, in the middle of everything. Any music links by chance? I did not write that. I don't have much music online actually. I don't know, I don't do that. There's, how can I do this? So the record I talked about in the beginning, Alash Sunshine, you can find on Spotify or YouTube Music or anything like that. And then there's a Bandcamp page. I think like that, where there's some of my music and some of my friends' music. So it's not all my music. There's I'll put that in the live chat. So there's Sorcery and Dafros is me, and then there's a record for one of my friends, Man of Silence, so that's not me, but it's a good record anyway, so yeah. But no, I don't have that much music online, except for the, like, I almost only have the, I think I have a playlist for all my jams with the modular and some of the jams that I do outside and with my tabletop gear and stuff like that. So, but I don't have much commercial music that I shared like that. Human, you're building a braids THD. Yeah, that's the same that I'm building. How often do you use SMD? Not very often. I did it today because this was my last TL077 that I burnt. So I actually had to make one of these little adapter boards with SMD TL071, which I had a bunch of. So I don't do it very often, and I actually got a new soldering iron as well with a really small tip, which actually made it quite easy to solder. my previous one was, the tip is a bit too big, too wide, so it's a bit difficult to do it. 3360 for the VCA, yeah. Through hole master race. Yeah, Frank Semi, I've heard about the Danish modular meetup. First Saturday every month. And Konstantin that lives in Lund is there every time. Yeah, I've heard of him as well. So yeah, I need to go there, get there, I know. I need to find a way to get this into a suitcase or something. And I need to get my second shot first. So I've got my first shot of vaccine, so once I got the second one, I'm gonna go out and see the world. Mario has to go. He's running out of battery. That was probably a while back. Goodbye, Mario. Sorry, I didn't say that there. Do Atanas wonder if I have gone through which module I consider worth it the most. The DSP 100, definitely. Definitely so I'm working on a module. I will release the schematics, but this, I'm not totally happy with it yet, where you have the input gain and you have the dry wet signal. So that was basically no, let's turn around instead. Sorry, hope you don't get too dizzy. So on day, was it 12, I did the DSP 100 module, which is this one, and then I did the Echomatic, and so these two in conjunction is really good. I don't like the Echomatic though, because it doesn't work like I want to. Like when you have full mix, there's still a dry signal in. So what I've done is I've done my own mix section and an input gain, output gain, and I skipped the feedback. We can discuss if that was a good or bad thing. Building the DSP 99 or DSP 100 is definitely worth it. The XOR bell, really worth it. I really like that drum. The Smurf drum, just because it's so simple, it's passive, and it's so quirky. Like, it was just supposed to be you can't see, sorry, it's losing its grip here. So those two, I said those two, so the DSP 99 and the new module over there. And then XOR bell, the Smurf drum. Worth it. The dual VC LFO, this was a really difficult module to make. It was really complex. Worth it, because it is, you get CV input on a LFO, so you can cross modulate these two with each other. It's just awesome. Totally worth it. And also the MS-20 OTA filter was also very much worth it. That's like, I use that filter all the time. A lot of other, yeah, I can't, that's a really difficult question to answer actually. That is like worth it. I mean, they just take time. They barely cost anything, like between $5 and $10 for most of them, and which is really little money for what you get with any of the modules. And time would just be time spent watching TV or something instead. And instead I sit, listen to music, and it's kind of therapeutic to do solder work. So I mean, they're all worth it, definitely, because yeah, look what I got instead of just knowing every episode of Friends. I know I have all these, I have almost as many episodes as there are episodes of Friends. Maybe not. I'm not that. Not yet. What are your first Arduino project you have ideas doing? I have ideas for so much, but the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go through how to protect the inputs, because if you've built any of my modules, then you have very hot signals, and we really need to protect our inputs on the Arduino, which can only tolerate 5 volts. So if we take the hex oscillator there on the floor, and we would connect that, I think that is 10 volts, or over 10 volts going out. So if we would put that into our Arduino, we would fry it immediately. So step 1, protect our inputs, and then we go from there. There are so many modules. That might be one thing. I'm not going to, I don't know, like if I should do days or just, I should probably not do days, because then that way I can jump between modules a bit more, but then it might get messy. I don't know. See, let's see when I get there. I know the first episode is protecting inputs. That's the first. Yeah, Hagiwoo has some great Arduino modules. I've seen those. Definitely gonna look at some of his stuff. You're also welcome in Labitat, Hackerspace in Copenhagen. We have a lot of resources there. There's a guy that makes own hardware sequencer. We had module workshops too. That's awesome. I really want to go to a hackerspace as well. I wanted to make a hackerspace, but yeah, this, as I said, this is a really small village, so this is not the place for it. Thanks, Mario, again. Thanks, Andrew. You're gonna leave. Was fun. Some good questions there. Yeah, this was a long live stream. I know that. So, do you solder it with iron or heat gun? You mean the SMD? Second thing, so I bought a new soldering iron, but I actually bought it because of the heat gun, and that's, so I've only used the heat gun for 1 day, and my primary objective was to desolder these things for the DSP 100 effects. So that's what I did. I then burnt my fingers yesterday. Really, like, yeah, I didn't think that it was going to be that hot after I blew 400 degrees air on it. Don't ask. So now I took Harmo's advice and have a stick for holding my PCB far away from me and telling me that this one is hot. So this is my hot air stick. And no, I have not tried doing that with hot air. If you want to do it with hot air, I think you need to have solder paste, and I don't have solder paste. I only have a roll of solder like this, so I haven't tried that yet. But I'm gonna buy solder paste and gonna try to do that as well. Yes, I will destroy this one. I just forgot yesterday, Paul. It is destroyed now. There. Throw it in the electronics bin. It is out of our life. Thank you. That will save me a lot of grief if I hadn't done that. I have a sinking feeling. Sorry, the camera is, yeah, the hinges are not that great. Okay, a lot of jokes about the sliding camera. Anyone else craning their necks? Yeah. There was a big thing in serial comms. Heat gun be hot. Yeah. If it can melt solder, it is hot. Yeah, I know. Now I know. Like Buddha said, yeah, I can't tell you, I can't teach you anything by telling you. You need to experience it. I experienced it. I learned. It's not difficult with solder paste. You should try it again. Yeah, but I don't have solder paste, so I'm gonna buy solder paste, and then I'm gonna try it. You can learn from others' mistakes. Yeah, but can you though? You learn better by your own mistakes. But yeah, of course you can learn from other mistakes. The cheap one from Ali works great. The cheap solder paste or the cheap hot air gun. Anyway, I think we've come to the end. There seems to be, I've come to the end of the live chat. I've answered all the questions I've got from the other channels. So let's make better mistakes tomorrow. That should be a t-shirt. We have on the Discord, we have a channel called Should Be a T-shirt. There's a lot of those. That's such a great... I'm copying that, Peter. That's going up on the wall, I think. Maybe in the future, weird Max pimped modules weeks. You mean like Mad Max pimped? Yes, the paste. One M-Lure lock syringe for the solder paste. Yeah, I'm gonna buy a syringe as well, of course. T12. You made, you mean you bought a cheap T12 iron from Ali? Yeah, those should be good as well. Signing out from Phoenix, Arizona. But it was very fun to have you all here. Very fun, nice to answer all the questions. Hopefully we got all the answers, all the questions answered, so I and anyone who asks can send people to this video for answers about everything and life. The house number of my house is 42, by the way. So yeah. You're still guilty for hooking me up with modulars. Sorry, but not really. I think it's a really awesome hobby. So yeah, thank you everyone. It was really fun doing this, and I'll try to do a studio tour in a not too distant future. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye. Yes, I want to end the stream.